What's up, guys? 5-Star Paintball Tech here. We're in the boiler room where all the magic happens on the tech bench. And I'm so excited, as you can tell from the title of the video, I'm so excited to debut a new product from FloryPb. I'm a huge believer in their products. Not only are they extremely reasonably priced, but he's also delivering some of the highest quality boards and just like delivering the craziest rates of fire out of these older guns. He has a huge array of products for almost every old gun that there is. That includes the 2K5 and now 2K2 Intimidator boards, includes almost every generation of Angel, if not all of them, includes the Die Matrix series for the DM4 and DM5 chips, also includes ultralight frame boards, includes fringe, like real niche guns like the FEP Quest, as well as the System X Enemy. I'm sure there's others that I'm missing. He also just came out with a few triggers for the Intimidators, as well as Angels. And then one of my favorites, which we're going to be shooting in the shooting vid of this, is going to be the titanium freak inserts that are standard length. They are made to super high tolerances, really nice polish on the inside, and if you're lucky, it'll shoot some sparks. So Andrew over at FloryPb you can buy all of his gear on eBay. I believe if you just search for FloryPb, his products should definitely pop up there. But focusing on today, we're going to debut the new 2K2 FloryPb board that'll fit both the 2K2 LED and LCD frames of Intimidator. So the way that this video is going to be structured is we're going to do a overview and unboxing video of the 2K2 board. We're going to do an install instructional kind of section of it, and then we're going to do a quick walkthrough of the gun so that you could see how my personal guns are built. And then lastly, if you want to skip through that part, because that's all the boring stuff, we'll get to the actual shooting vid where you can see this thing in action. So without further ado, let's unbox this thing. The first thing that you'll notice is that it comes in a really nice soft shell case. You can tell that he went through a new vendor. This one's a lot nicer, I think, than the older ones. Has this nice quilted pattern on it, and it's now branded with the FloryPb. Let's get this opened up. You're immediately greeted with a manual. Good news about the manual, if you're a user of other FloryPb products, it uses all the same exact settings, and it has all the same adjustability as like the 2K5 board, for example. So it should feel pretty familiar. And then you're going to have the board and its associated wiring harnesses. So I'm just going to kind of dump everything out, and we'll do an overview of the board and some of the features. So there's a few things here. Set this off to the side. First thing, you have your mounting hardware. So you have one screw, which is going to mount the board to the frame, and then two screws, which are going to be the same size. Those are the two screws that can be replacement for the slider on-off switch that's already in the frame. So all the mounting hardware that you need, you can actually use all of the stock screws that are already in the gun. These are just nice to have on hand in case you lose them in the process. We have the main board, and we'll get to the two wiring harnesses that you're seeing here in a second, because it's all relevant to the setup of the gun. So first thing about the board that you'll notice, it has a QR code actually printed on the board so that you can have quick, easy access to the manual. I've gone through some extreme lengths to get FloryPb manuals because I didn't have them. I didn't have the printed version offhand. I've gone as far as looking at his eBay listings for the ones that he has included in the thumbnail pictures. So having it printed on the board for nice, easy access is super nice. Also has the standard DM4 dip switches that should feel pretty familiar from his other boards. Quick tip on the dip switches. I always, and this only goes for poppet style guns that the FloryPb boards are going in. This ranges from an Intimidator like what you're seeing here. It could apply to Angels. It could apply to impulses. I'm not sure if he has an impulse board, maybe not. It even applies to newer poppet style guns like the LVs, even the LV2. This first dip switch is for the anti-first shot drop-off, or I think he has it labeled as anti-bolt stick. you will actually never need that on a poppet style gun. In fact, if you're ever getting first shot drop off, again, it doesn't matter what style poppet gun it is, if you're getting first shot drop off, that's a sign that your solenoid is actually on its way out and needs replacement. So you'll never need to have first shot drop off enabled on these boards. I always put the first dip switch in the down position. The second dip switch tells the board if you want the eyes off or on upon boot up. So we're going to keep that in the up position. The third switch is rate of fire cap if you want it on or off. Up is in the on position, which is where we're going to keep it. We're just going to set it to a ridiculously high rate of fire, like 22 balls a second. So I'm going to keep that in the on position. And then the last one is going to be for your tournament lock. You always want to be able to change your settings, so I'm going to keep that in the up position as well. On the other side of the board, we have the QR code printed again. You'll also notice that the board is actually going to use the harnesses that that come stock with the gun. It's going to make for a really easy install process. Really happy to see that happen. And then of course you have your little pick chip right here tucked away in the corner. So nicely packaged board. The things that are going to be not so familiar on this are going to be these three connectors right here. So we're going to actually start from right to left. The first one is going to be for a new style switch that you're going to use to turn the gun on and off. Now, here's some caveats to it. There's two scenarios where you're absolutely going to need to install this this on-off switch, and those two scenarios are when you're using actually, let me back up for a second. This is going to be used in a case where, and actually you're still going to have the slider switch installed here. The slider switch's role in all of this is to shut current on or off to the main board. So given that this switch can be optional, it's still possible to use the slider switch if you're running this your marker with a 2K2 LCD frame on the condition that the membrane pad is working. So the scenario where the new power switch is optional, LCD frame and the membrane pad buttons are operating correctly. And the reason for that is because you're now going to use the slider switch to dictate if current is going to run to the board or not. You're always going to want to keep it in the on position, so you could always turn the gun on and off at any time. Depending on how your membrane pad is set up, one of these buttons is going to be your power on and off switch. The other button is going to be your eye on and off. So keep that in mind. The scenario where you definitely have to use this is if one, your membrane pad is not working, or if you're using a 2K2 LED style frame that doesn't even have these to begin with. The caveat with using this switch in the with a broken membrane pad, or again you're using a 2K2 LED style frame, is you'll actually have no way to turn the eyes on and off because a button won't exist for that. So just keep that in mind. Real simple. Again, you're going to use this switch if you're using a 2K2 LED style frame or your membrane pad is shot in your LCD frame. The scenario where this switch is optional is if you're using a 2K2 LCD frame and your membrane pads are operational and working. So if you could believe it, my membrane pad in a Tex gun is actually not working. So for the sake of covering all scenarios for install and just getting my own personal gun up and running with this board, we're going to use the switch that was included. Cool. So that summarizes the first connector. Second connector, this wiring harness is not optional. Have to use it no matter what your frame configuration is. We're going to plug that into the second, the middle one. This is a new LED. And the reason why we have to use this is because the stock LED is actually not capable of producing the full spectrum of colors that that you're going to need for programming. So this LED is capable of producing all those colors and is what you're going to use to kind of guide the programming process. So that's the middle one. The connector on the left is actually, and I don't know if I'll ever use this, someone out there might, if wired dimatrix eyes, for example, are more accessible than Intimidator eyes. This third port is actually made to accept a 3-prong harness, which just happens to be the die matrix ones. I'm sure that was done intentionally. So yeah, if that's the way that you roll, FloryPb has you covered, and will enable all that for you. So that's the main settings of the board. We'll go into the install, which is pretty simple. And we'll also go into the programming of the board, because there's some recommendations that I have for any FloryPb chip user or FloryPb board user in a Intimidator. To proceed to the install, you're going to need a few tools. Definitely recommend grabbing an Allen key kit. You're going to need a 3/32, the next size down, and then the 1/16 Allen key. And then in addition to that, you're just going to need a smaller Phillips head screwdriver. So to get to the board area, you're going to remove the grips using the middle-sized Allen key. Then you're going to use the 3/32 Allen key to undo the 4 clamshell screws. And my recommendation, once you have those screws out, just lift it very slowly, because the membrane pad's going to be connected right there. You're just going to want to lightly disconnect it. Once it's disconnected, put the clamshell off to the side. Board's exposed. You have a bunch of stuff here. I'm going to walk through the order of operations for getting this installed. First thing we're going to do, or actually order of operations for getting the board uninstalled. We're going to take out the battery first. We're going to then unscrew the board mounting screw. We're going to unplug the 2 harnesses on the board. Then we're going to remove the, the LCD ribbon. We're going to then remove the slider switch screws. And then lastly, we're going to remove the LED, the stock one. So we'll start with the battery. Easy enough. Set that off to the side. Next up is going to be the board mounting screw right there. You'll use your 1/16 Allen key to remove that. Set that off to the side. Now that that's removed, we're going to be able to lift the board up lightly, which will reveal the 2 wiring harnesses. Flip the gun so you have a better view. Wiring harnesses are right here and right here. You're just going to want to pull them ever so lightly to remove them from the board. And then to remove the LCD ribbon, there's 2 black tabs that are on both sides of the LCD ribbon, and those just push upwards. So you're just going to push both of them upwards. Once they're both in the up position, you're just going to pull the board out very lightly. That'll pull right out. Now we have a bunch of, and we got to do the 2 screws that hold the slider switch in. So we're just going to undo those. Why doesn't that want to come out? There we go. Okay. So, and then also get the LED out. So mine's just going to pull right out because it's clean. Some might have dirty LEDs. If yours is dirty and kind of caked in there, nice little tip is just use your Allen key and you could just push it through to the other side. Might end up using a little bit of force. What's nice about the original LED is it just tucks in nicely right next to where the hole is. Get a close-up on that so that you could see. So just tuck it right there. Okay, we have a bunch of exposed wires. Just some quick tidbits. Your LCD is not going to be used for the FloryPb board. There's nowhere to plug it in. I'm going to keep mine in. You don't have to. If you want, you could even uninstall the LCD entirely. Totally up to you. For the install of the actual board, there's going to be a lot of wire tucking happening, and it's not going to look pretty, but it'll work and it'll be well protected once the clamshell is fully assembled. So the first step to getting the actual board installed is we're going to reinstall the harnesses, same way that they came out of the stock board or whatever board you're changing from. Once those are in, I'd then recommend installing the board mounting screw. You're just going to use your 1/16 Allen key to do that. Okay, now we have a few things that we need to do here. The first of which is we're going to need to install the new button, which I recommend doing first. I'm going to just screw it in and install it, and then I'm going to show you how I tuck the wires in. So just bear with me 1 second. Oh, and one other thing that we're going to want to do is just pull the membrane pad harness, this guy, just pull it off to the side because it's going to get in the way of a lot of stuff. So let me get the new push button switch installed, and I'll show you how I tuck the wiring in. All right, so the as far as how I have the wiring set up, the wiring for both the push button on off button and the new LED are going to tuck really nicely right below the RAM sleeve. So I have it going out to the left, kind of loops, got it tucked in right there, comes back out to the right, and then your push button's right there. For the LED, you're going to just kind of do the same thing. Get that installed real quick. Just tucks in real nicely right underneath the RAM sleeve. And then the final thing that we're going to need to tuck in is going to be the original slider switch. And before you do that, the one thing that you're going to want to just like make sure it is there is that the slider switch is in the on position. Without that, this board will not turn on because it's going to keep current shut off. And then real quick, we just want to test that it's all working correctly. So we're going to reinstall the battery. We're going to press the power button. And boom, it's on. We're in business, baby. We're going to want to test the eyes and make sure those work. It's changing color. We're in business. And from here, it's really about reassembly. One tip on the old slider switch, I find that it tucks in really nicely just right underneath the new power switch, as you can see. So don't forget to reattach your membrane pad. And then everything goes on same way that it came off. Use a 3/32 to do your clamshell. Okay. And then one thing that I had to do is just undo ever so slightly the eye cover so that the clamshell side comes off. I'm going to get the grip back on this side. And we're assembled. So now let's get into some tips and tricks for the FloryPb board. There's really only one. There's 3 settings that I recommend changing on this board. 2 out of the 3 are going to be optional. One of them I think is a must. So let's get the gun into programming mode. We're going to turn it off using the push button. And also let's take a quick second to admire the push button. It looks awesome. You can't even tell that it's like different than stock. It doesn't have any weird colors that kind of show. It just looks black and plain and generic there. Really nice design from Andrew. To kick this thing into programming mode, we're going to pull the trigger and we're just going to press the power button. It's going to turn red and then it's going to flash all the colors. And it's going to start in green. That's actually your dwell setting. I recommend that you actually keep the dwell at the stock setting. Andrew has them set at 12 milliseconds out of the box, which is a bit higher than what they come from with like the regular stock board. I found that if you do it lower, you risk just like not giving the gun full power, and 12 is actually perfect for these boards specifically. So keep that there. The one setting that I recommend changing right off the rip is going to be your teal setting, and that's your ball in place. What this does is it adds a delay to kind of account for the time that the ball actually like settles in the breech. It might bounce up a little bit. Definitely recommend using a force feed loader with these guns just to keep them feeding paint fast. Otherwise, if you're using a Spire, this kind of accounts for any kind of time that the ball might take to actually settle and become completely still in the breech. It's literally milliseconds that we're talking here. Do yourself a favor for any Intimidator board that FloryPb sells. I would recommend changing this to a setting of 6. And you're going to do that by holding the trigger, and you're going to click it 6 times. And then it'll flash all those colors to confirm that it's saved. Now you're good. So that's going to set the ball in place to 3 milliseconds. I found that just in my testing that's the ideal spot. Definitely recommend changing it right off the rip. Through my chats with Andrew, I think he's going to be changing that to the default setting now. So you might be in luck. Just consult with the manual to see what the default reads as. And then the 2 other settings that I recommend changing, this is all based on preference, is the firing mode and your rate of fire. Outside of that, this thing's ready to rock. You just turn it off from here to get it out of the programming mode. We'll go right off. If you guys want a quick run through on the gun, and then we'll go into a shooting video. This is one of my personal guns. It's actually inspired by a prototype Lasoya in the same exact colorway that is currently owned by John over at FloryPb. So a few things, parts, we'll just do a quick run through on parts. It utilizes the stock regulators. I love the look of the Lasoya regulators, so I have the matching tips for both of them. Has the CP rake trigger, really comfortable trigger, just fires super fast. One thing I'll mention too about the regs, Dirty Works or Oregon PB, however they rebranded, sells a double O-ringed piston, which I highly recommend. I think it's under the it's a part labeled under the Gen 4 regs. It has 2 O-rings, which just keeps the pistons a bit more stable, and also a lot less likely to create any kind of like wear and tear or rubbing of metal on metal in either of the LPR or the HPR bodies. It's a reliability thing, and it just keeps the gun working really nicely. So we got the upgraded regs. We have the Evil front block, which I really like. Emulates the same benefits in terms of increased volume as the 2K5 front block. Just recommend tighter tubing for getting that connected to the solenoid. I'm running the stock ram, and then I have the Bob Long Venturi bolt in here, which I really like. Really helps with setting the ball in place, or setting the ball placement in the breech, because it eliminates rollback just due to the Venturi face. And then outside of that, I now have the FloryPb board inside of here. It's pretty much stock. I have an adjustable ram cap. I like the old steel braided hose. Looks badass. This thing's going to be a great shooting gun. Yeah, let's get to the shooting video, guys.